If you're in the middle of an audit, maybe go to the chapters section and look for where I give my first piece of advice of things not to do. Go and do that now and come and watch the rest later. So auditing videos started really in America, like many things, and the idea was to go and look at public buildings, film them and see if you can get a reaction from the people inside. Now this has come to the UK a few years ago, and the most recent really adaptation to that is auditing with drones.
And their favourite drone is the sub 250 gram drones.
What do you think of auditors? Do you think they're just using the privileges that are granted to them under the law? Or do you think they're pushing these privileges too far? And do you think it will result in more legislation around drones? Tell me what you think in the comments. I'll be really interested to hear what you think. How do you know if this is an audit? Well, the chances are that they've already been about your property. They've been looking at barriers, they've been looking at security cameras, they've been looking at fences, comings and goings, and probably your security already know that they're there. They may have even spoken to them. So the drone is just to add additional pressure to make you come out and actually speak to them, which is really what they want. They want to be able to put your face on a thumbnail and get thousands or hundreds of thousands, even millions of views, and make you famous. They won't be on the camera, it'll be you. Quite often auditors will hide their identity. Often they won't tell you who they are. It's very difficult because actually it leaves you very frustrated, but resist that temptation. My first tip, really, and the most important one, is don't approach them. Don't go down and speak to them. Don't make yourself famous by going down there with an angry face. And don't be a thumbnail. Don't be seen by millions of people and make it a really boring video. Simple as that. Just ignore them. They'll go eventually. It might take them an hour, it might take them 2 hours. But there's only 30 minutes of flight time on a drone battery. If I have 3 batteries, that's an hour and a half at worst case. Just ignore them. If you can't just ignore them, watch on. Here are a few things that it's pointless saying to them because they'll have all the answers for you. And all you're going to do is be that angry person that feels very frustrated. This is private property. Now, there's no actual law against flying above private property. The airspace above your property actually is a state-owned asset and it's controlled by the CAA, and there's nothing you can do about people flying above your property, unless of course you are in a flight restricted zone, and even in that case the chances are that people can get permission to fly there. You have no permission to film my property. Well, the auditor will say that they don't need permission to fly and film your property, and they are doing effectively a public service. They're checking what's going on and checking for any wrongdoing, which I'll say is perfectly legal. It may or may not be, but you won't get very far unless you have their contact details to be able to take action against them. And you won't get their contact details because they have no requirement to actually give it to you, except for one thing. There's sensitive data inside. This may be the case, but it's very difficult to actually stop them from capturing the outside of a building, comings and goings, trucks moving, that sort of thing. You're not going to stop that. Who are you and where are you from? Now, it's very unlikely that they'll ever give you their information, their contact information. They'll hide their face potentially, and all they want to do is put you on camera. They won't tell you who they are because they have no requirement to. It's not written in law that they have to identify themselves to you, but they'll quite happily put your face on YouTube and not blur you out, even if you don't want to be. It's very important that if you feel they're doing something wrong, you document it. And when I say document, film it. You can film the drone and where it is flying, you can film the person controlling the drone. But if you document it, then any wrongdoing potentially could be at least documented and maybe brought up in the future. So a little overview of sub 250 gram drones. This is based on the current legislation as it is in 2022. These drones have no separation distance between them and uninvolved people. They can be flown above any private land. You don't even need any formal training to fly these drones. But you do have to have an operator ID on the drone, either on the outside or in the battery compartment maybe. And this is one of the things you need to be looking for actually, the operator ID, because that will identify the flyer and allow you to report this flyer potentially if you think they've done something wrong. Another thing that the flyer can't do, they can't overfly a crowd. Now a crowd is defined as a group of people that can't move away if a drone were to fall. So that might be 5 people in a garden, it might be 50 people in a yard, it might be 1,000 people at a festival. There's no defined number. If you do go down and speak to them, be very friendly, treat them like royalty, take them a cup of tea or a biscuit or both, because the less interesting you are on video, the less views this is going to get. So if you're now in the situation where you're going to go down and speak to them, what will you say? Firstly, where are they flying from? Is it your property they're flying from? If it is, you can ask them to stop and to leave. If they don't leave, it could be an aggravated trespass, which is reason to call the police. Chances are they're flying from publicly accessible land or from public land. Publicly accessible land doesn't necessarily mean it's public. It could be private land that has access through it. And if it is private land, you can maybe speak to the owner of that land and maybe ask them to ask the pilot to stop and leave. Can I see your operator ID? The operator ID should be on the drone. And even though there's no requirement in law for them to show you, it's kind of like a number plate. If a number plate is on a vehicle, then it's there to identify it. So there should be no reason that they can't share that with you. If they don't give you the operator ID, which they must have on their drone by law, maybe this is an opportunity to speak to the police and check if the police can get the operator ID, because it is a requirement that it is on the drone. Having the operator ID gives you the opportunity to identify this person, and you can do that potentially through the CAA. Can they still find their drone in the sky? Ask them. If they've been chatting to you for the past couple of minutes and not looking at the drone, do they still know where it is? It's one of the requirements that you must be able to see the drone in the sky. You can't fly it beyond a visual line of sight. So can they still find it in the sky? If not, you want to document this because it's a potential rule breach. Document it. If they can find it, now can you keep an eye on it too? Does it fly behind trees that makes it then not visible? Does it fly behind buildings that again makes it not visible? So again, document this, and if you can't see it, then maybe they can't see it. How far away is the drone? Now you should be able to see on the screen, if they show it to you, how far the drone is away from where it took off from. In the UK, the maximum distance that the CAA consider that you can see a drone is 500 meters, or as far as you can see it. Now, it's unlikely that you'll see a mini drone, like a sub 250 drone, at 500 meters. You might see it 100 meters, it might be 200 meters, but you need to be able to see the drone in that sky. And if they've flown it more than 500 meters, maybe, again, it's broken the law. Equally, you can take off from a location, walk 100 meters, and it doesn't give you the distance from the controller, it gives you the distance from the takeoff and landing position. Even though sub 250 gram drones have lots and lots of freedoms, there's something actually that covers all drones, and that's set out in the CAA document, which is the CAP 393, and it's section 241. What this states, if I paraphrase, is that you must not recklessly endanger people or property through your flight. This could mean flying too close to people. It could mean that they are distracting people operating machinery. It could mean that they've flown too close to a vehicle or taken off and landed from a place that was unsuitable. Maybe that place is a busy street, it's a busy road maybe. So think about that when you're gathering evidence. So now the auditor has gone. If you think you have the right evidence, then maybe you need to forward this to the police, maybe make an incident report. You won't necessarily be able to stop this person, but you might be able to help the next person. If enough evidence is built up that there's a pattern of behaviour here, it might be raised as being more serious. It's worth reporting this if you think that somebody's broken the law. I'd be interested to hear if you've been audited by a drone and how it went and what your thoughts were on that. Did it end up being a positive experience, I wonder? What do you think about drone auditing? Is it a really good thing that you can actually see more with a drone, or is it just something that someone's doing to make a really lazy video and make some money? Even if you haven't been audited, maybe you know somebody who is part of a business that could be. Maybe it's worth sharing the video with them or with their organisation. Maybe it might help them out in the future. YouTube loves you to interact with the video, so whether that be through comment, through a thumbs up, or whether you subscribe, YouTube loves it and will share it to more people. I really appreciate it too. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.